Super Rugby, the Friday games, there were the three, the New Zealand Derby, the Aussie Derby, and then the South Africa-New Zealand clash. Much built up by me. But, yeah. So, I think the bookies got all these ones right. All the favourites won their games. How did you guys do in Super Brew? I think I haven't actually checked. I'm pretty sure I picked all those three, although definitely not the margins. The first one, the Blues up against the Hurricanes. As you know, I went to this one. Took my wife because my dad, who I usually go with, is a bit crook. The Blues could not get it done. 22 points to 12. It's a 10-point victory for the Hurricanes, so no bonus point for the Blues, which I said in my preview, like if they got a bonus point losing, then I would probably be relatively satisfied. Couldn't even get that. So 22-12. It's another disappointing loss for the Blues, and a strange one because, man, did they have a lot of ball early. Tu'ungafasi had a line break early. Nonu had a really great little kick into space, although he did knock the ball on not long after. Eventually, Sam Nock gets his try from a great Tuipulotu offload, and it's 7-0 to the Blues. The Blues have got so much pressure down at Hurricanes' end. It's all down the end that I'm sitting as well, so it was all very good stuff, very entertaining. Gibson goes close in the corner. Nonu almost got there. They had a maul, which got held up. Xavier gets a turnover. So, yeah, the Blues, a lot of pressure, but no points apart from that initial 7. And then as soon as the Hurricanes get down the other end on, I think it's 23 minutes, Lamb. Try that he has no rights to score, but he just, wonderful try. Too good. 7-all from that little move. He managed to beat too many people. Not long after, Amua gets a line break, but this week he's tackled like Guinea couldn't tackle him last week, but the Blues guys were putting their bodies on the line to keep these big guys down. Lamape as well, when he had a little break, he was fairly quiet, I thought, at least from my seat in the stand. He got shut down, so he wasn't able to bust through like he normally does, so I guess if you're a Blues fan, there's a wee bit of a bright side. Two of those Hurricanes game-breaking guys weren't able to get much pay there, but then half an hour, Geordie Barrett gets his try. I think it's like a phase after a line out. They had advantage anyway. 14 points to 7. The Blues go close up until halftime, but they're held up again. So they can't quite. They can get over the line, but can't get the ball down. That's halftime. Second half, Scruffton goes close for the Blues, but again, it's no try. Blues again putting a lot of pressure on. Tumunga Allen gets yellow carded for the Hurricanes. Just has so many penalties in a row. And eventually at scrum time, he concedes a penalty and is yellow carded for it as kind of a team collective thing, but he bears the brunt of it. Which is weird because the Blues were absolutely dominated in the forwards last week by the Brumbies. So does that mean that the Brumbies are good, the Blues are a medium, and the Hurricanes are poor? I don't think so, but maybe it's just the ref's interpretation, or one team is particularly good against another team. I don't know, but the Blues were rubbish last week up front, but they were dominating at least at that period of the game. The Canes had some huge D and eventually managed to hold the Blues out, but before the yellow card expired, Papali'i did manage to get one out wide. The TMO had to check it, but his feet weren't in touch. So, yeah, that made it 12 points to 14 because they missed the conversion, did the Blues. Yellow card period, the Blues get 5 points, and then about, how many minutes later? About 7. Yeah, Blues get the ball, and Beauden Barrett intercepts. When that guy gets an intercept, he is gone for all money, so of course he blitzed his way down the field, makes it 19 points to 12. And then Geordie Barrett gets a penalty later on to put it beyond scoring distance for the Blues. So no chance of a draw, no chance of a losing bonus point. The Blues go down by 10 points at home. It's their second loss at home. The other one being to the Crusaders. So admittedly the two top teams in the competition. But yeah, pretty disappointing seeing as the Blues had a lot of chances. But I must admit, reverting to the traditional recent years Blues fan, when I could see the Blues getting phase after phase 5 meters out from the Hurricanes, my sixth sense, the Blues fan sense, was telling me they're going to knock it on. or they're going to get turned over. And sure enough, pretty much happened. The Hurricanes' defense was pretty immense. And credit to them, when they got their chances, they sure took them, did the Canes. That's, just another way to win a game. I mean, some of the key stats, you look, the Blues had more run meters, 528 to 382, fairly comfortable. The Blues had more possession, 60, more territory, 63%. They made the Hurricanes make more tackles, 134 to 63. So where are the Blues losing it? Well, their tackling percentage was 73%. That's pretty bad. The Hurricanes were a very respectable 86%. And if you look at the defenders beaten, despite the fact that the Hurricanes only had, and this goes back to tackling, 40% of the ball, they had more defenders beaten than the Blues had. It doesn't make sense. The Blues should be defending better than that, but they're not. And also the Blues conceded the ball 20 times via turnovers or handling errors, 20 times to the Hurricanes 11. So the Hurricanes much better at looking after the pill when they had it. Hurricanes did concede 16 penalties to the Blues 10, so I guess part of that was the scrum and just the fact that the Hurricanes were having to defend more, so at times they were getting penalised. But yeah, I think the Blues had the maul over the Canes line 3 times and they still weren't able to get it down. So yep, at least there was a decent crowd for that one. I know one broadcaster kind of said there was nobody there, but compared to, I've been to all the Blues games this year, that was one of the better crowds, I thought. And at one point when Sam Knock came off, the Blues PA announcer said, looks like he's taken one, haha, because his surname's Knock, get it? And he had a knock. Yep. That's what you pay the big bucks for, to go to those Blues games in person, so you get that kind of entertainment. Next week, the Blues host the Chiefs at home, so hopefully they can get a reversal of the fixture down in Hamilton. That one could be for the wooden spoon in the New Zealand Conference, because they're both doing pretty badly. And the Hurricanes host the Jaguares in Wellington, so they will be looking to continue their decent form. Will the Hurricanes. The next game, the Rebels hosting the Reds. Now, I admit I didn't watch this one in full. Usually after a Blues game, if there's another game on, I race home to try and see as much of it as possible. I was with my wife, and I was feeling sad for the Blues, so I went and got some food after the game. I went and ate my sorrows away, which is probably not very good, but hey, I'm a Blues fan, man. Give me a break. So I did watch the highlights of this one this morning. Rebels, I guess it's kind of a much needed win given how tight that Aussie conference has got, and the fact that they hadn't had a win for quite a few rounds. I think it was round 8 was their last win, so they finally get one now in round 13. Hegarty starts us off with a penalty for the Reds, 3-0. Karevi gets yellow carded for an aerial battle. I think it was with Guinea from memory. But yeah, yellow carded, so Korobidi gets a try after that yellow card, so it makes it 7 points to 3. The lead changes, and the yellow card period is 7-zip. Hegarty kicks a penalty to make it 7-6, only 1 point in it. Now, the penalty was kicked after the guy came back on, after Karevi came back on, but it was conceded while he was back off, so I kind of consider that yellow card period to be 7-3, so I guess the Reds got out of jail a wee bit there by managing to kick points during a yellow card. And then, that seemed to be a lot of the scoring until the Rebels got a maul try on 31 minutes. 32, it was Rangi. That made it 14-6. JP Smith gets a line break on the 36th minute, which was a thing of glory to see. You know me, I do like seeing props in full flight, so that was glorious, but they didn't get anything of it. The Reds on 38 minutes get a try from Isaac Lucas. So I think it was his first try for Super Rugby. It was a really good run, a little interchange with one of the front rowers. So top effort from him. And they missed the conversion. So it was 14-11 at halftime to the Rebels. Higginbotham gets a yellow card in the second half on halftime. And then Faulkner gets a try from a Hodge line break and a couple of offloads. Makes it 19 points to 11. They missed the conversion, so that's a 5 points scored during a yellow card. Dana Halapeti gets a try from another Hodge line break. Again, they missed the conversion, so the Rebels kicking a wee bit of an issue in this one. but points during yellow cards, very profitable for the Rebels. So at that point, it's 24 points to 11. It looks like the Rebels are just going to get it done pretty easily. But then Hoopert gets a try for the Reds from a maul, 24 points to 18. Rebels kick a penalty, 27-18. Reds kick a penalty, 27-21. Rebels kick a penalty, 30 points to 21, and then the Reds kick a penalty. So they're just exchanging penalties, 30 points to 24. So the Reds, that last penalty was 82 minutes, so they were never going to win the game. They just went for a penalty to get a bonus point, so they do that. The Rebels get the win they need, not the bonus point. They were still one try away from getting that, but I guess it's the 4 points they needed to stay top of that Aussie conference. But seriously, look at all those tries during yellow cards. So 17 points is what the Reds conceded when guys were in the bin. So that is I guess a worrying sign for them. The Rebels able to really capitalize on that man advantage, and it was Gardner again. The Reds must be getting sick of the sight of him, because every time he must love poker or something, because he just last couple of games so many cards. It's I don't know if it's leading up to a World Cup or what. There's been some talk that refs, I think they've already all been chosen, but the refs leading up to a World Cup get a lot stricter on some of the rules. So yeah, anyway, the Rebels had the better of the stats. Run meters 427 to 305. They had more possession 53, more territory 61%. Tackling rates were pretty even, both in the 80s. The Reds conceded more penalties and guess more cards. So I guess one thing that the Rebels will be a little bit concerned about is that kicking. If Quaid had been kicking his conversions, that Hooper try wouldn't have put the Reds back in touching distance, and if they'd kicked those conversions, the Reds wouldn't have even got a bonus point in this one. So yeah, probably enough for both sides to be kind of semi-satisfied, but neither will be all that happy. You guys who watched the game in full, let me know what else went on, because as I said, I've only seen about 10 minutes of highlights. The last one, the Bulls up against the Crusaders, and I thought this one was going to be a cracker. It was a bit of a hiding in the end, 45 points to 13. I was going to get up early to watch it. I talked a big game that I was going to get up, but I was out late eating, so I watched it when I got out of bed. Delayed. I managed to avoid any spoilers, but it didn't take that long to know who was going to win this one. To be fair, I could have just gone and looked. I don't mean to be down on the Crusaders, because man, they were real good, and they had a lot of good moments in this game. It's just that I thought perhaps foolishly that this one might be close. It might be entertaining. I mean, it had entertainment, but it wasn't any tension. It was very one-sided. Disappointingly, Halant had tonsillitis, so he didn't play, which was a pity. I'm not saying that made any difference to the result. But I guess good thing was there was a good crowd for this one. They heeded the call to get a decent crowd at Loftus, and then they were treated to a bit of a drubbing like that, which is a disappointment. In terms of the scoring, there was a lot of it from the Crusaders. The first one is a try to Mo'unga, and it's a terrible bounce of the ball for the Bulls, and that kind of thing was just a testament to how the night was not going to be their night, because it was a bridge kick through, and the ball was staying low, and then it just took a wicked bounce and went straight over Pollard's head, and Mo'unga raced through and got the try, so 7-0. Pollard kicked a penalty on 18 minutes, made it 7-3, and they're maybe looking like, hey, we're going to do what the Sharks did last week. But then, interestingly, on just before 20 minutes, George Bridge got penalised for a neck roll on Pollard, and you could feel from the TMO that he wanted to yellow card him, but Rasta Rasavengi was having none of it. So he said, it's just a penalty. Continued playing on, and it wasn't the only time that that Rasta did that, although kind of in a good way later. So if that one kind of, I guess, went slightly towards the Crusaders in terms of Rasta's ruling. Later on, Mo'unga gets a try. He dummies Sneyman. He has a nice little step, shows some gas, Very good try from Mo'unga. I know Hunt's good, but Mo'unga is really good, so he makes a difference when he plays. 14 points to 3 it is at that time to the Crusaders. Ordendale gets a line break from a line out, but the Bulls knock it on. So it was kind of just, they would get a chance finally, and then they would stuff it up. Havili slips over, and this is what I'm talking about with Rasta's ruling. So Havili's got the ball, he slips, his feet just go out from under him, and Ordendale clatters him kind of around the neck, and the TMO again gets into Rasta's ear, I guess wanting to speak to him about something, but Rasta tells him, no, we're happy, and he just gives it a penalty. I hear the Crusaders guys, as Rasta's saying he slipped into it, saying, like, nah, but it's still a red, because, high shot. But I think Rasta on this one, I don't know what the actual laws say, but common sense that the guy slipped into it. I'm not sure what the science is around how quickly you can change your tackling arm's angle or power, because it's split seconds really, but he slipped into it, got hit high, and Rasta was like, no, that's just a penalty. So that one kind of went towards the Bulls. So I thought those kind of key disciplinary decisions was kind of one each way, and I thought that was kind of handled pretty well. Later on, Pollard kicks a long penalty, makes it 14-6. Again, reminders about that Sharks game last week, but then Danche gets a try like a minute later. This is a big lock, galloping down the wing. 19 points to 6 because they missed the conversion. Sever Reece gets his first try. Bulls defense for that one's really poor, 26-6, and that's how it goes at halftime. Halftime, you're wondering if the Bulls are going to start a different team in the second half, and then the kickoff immediately doesn't go 10 meters. And you're thinking, nah, this is going to be more of the same. Reece gets his second try on 47 minutes, goes through a gap. And, 33 points to 6. Ordendale finally gets a try for the Bulls on 56 minutes. So many phases, phase after phase, penalty after penalty, advantage, and they finally get a try, so that makes it 33 points to 13, only 20 points to go, Bulls. But then Reece gets a try from a cross kick, and it's funny because he's not all that tall, but he still took it really easily from Mo'unga, 40 points to 13. And Scott Barrett, seeing his two brothers having scored earlier in the day, is not being left out of that party, so he gets a try from 5 meters out, 45 points to 13. Man, that's one-sided. That was the top team in South Africa at home after the Crusaders have just had a tough draw and travel to deal with. Altitude, no problem at all. I was a bit disappointed, not in the Crusaders, because man, they are just slick and skills. Like, so many of their tries were just like done shade on the wing. That's just like, I like big type 5 forwards out in the open, man. It was glorious. Reece just shows wicked skills. Mo'unga is just such a great player. Steps, gas, kicks, cross kicks, dummies, man. The guy's got the whole package. But just disappointed because I thought it was going to be a bit closer. Thought the Bulls would put up a decent effort, maybe make a late run when the Crusaders guys are getting affected by the altitude, but nothing of the sort. Run meters 671 to the Bulls 322. Very one-sided. Tackling was especially disappointing for the Bulls. 84% for the Crusaders, 71% for the Bulls. Disappointing. Penalties conceded though, 12 to the Crusaders, only 4 to the Bulls. So the Crusaders continuing that recent theme of a bit of infringing. But when they've got the ball, super dangerous. Big hit at the end with Romano hitting Speckman. That was like 75 minutes, and the Crusaders got nothing to lose. They can't lose their bonus point. He still clobbers them. Crusaders are very good. Bulls very disappointed as they're about to go on their tour as well. So the Bulls have got the Reds next week over in Queensland. The Crusaders stay in South Africa to go to Cape Town and play the Stormers, who will be on the bye this week, watching that video and thinking, geez, we've got a big job coming ahead of us. But yeah, those were the games. What did you guys think of them? Interestingly, I have, like, of this kind of size flag, I've got Blues, I've got Bulls, and I've got Reds. And they all got beaten. I need more flags. Apparently, some winning teams for a change. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on the games. How did you think they went? Key performers, all that jazz. And I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.